Hey everyone, my name's Walter and we're back here to read some stories from Reddit once again. Today we'll be talking about relationships and problems that may occur in them. They might not be romantic relationships, and I might just use stories from Am I the Asshole the whole time. It has happened before. Stories are likely to come from there and places like Reddit relationships and relationship advice. I don't like long intros, so let's just get started with relationship problems from Reddit. Am I the asshole for buying a luxury watch instead of paying my fiance's parents back? Okay, obviously this is one of those titles where they misrepresent the situation a bit for a twist. I, 31 male, am in a relationship with a woman, Jen, 26 female. Jen and I have dated for 2 years now, and we got engaged 3 months ago. Neither Jen nor I are good with finances. In our city, this can't really be helped, seeing as everything is egregiously overpriced, but it is what it is, and we do the best we can. About a month ago, Jen and I decided to talk about our finances and savings, and so I brought up my online banking account to show her. In my checking account, I had a few $1,000s, but in my savings account, I had a bit over $8,000. Jen got super excited upon seeing that figure, saying we could use it to travel. I explained to Jen that this money was going towards a watch I wanted to buy. She responded with, and I quote, "F that," saying that she wanted to go to Europe with me. I immediately popped that balloon, as this was the result of me saving $150 to $250 a month for years. I was extremely clear, Europe was not going to happen. Jen got a bit upset, but finally I got her to drop the issue. About a week later, Jen came to me and said that I needed to come with her to a travel agent because she had made a down payment for a package deal to France. Having seen her finances, I knew that Jen didn't have the money. When I asked where she had come up with it, she said that she had borrowed it from her parents with a promise that she'd pay them back in about a week. Again, I was confused, but she said that the money I had in my account was more than enough to pay them back, and that instead of getting a stupid overpriced watch, I should make memories with your fiancé. I told her that she needed to go back to the agency and beg for her money back, but she said it was too late. A few minutes later, I got in my car, drove to the watch store, and told the guy I'd talked to half a dozen times about the watch that I was ready to buy it. I paid in cash and came home. There I showed Jen my watch and said, "That savings account now has a few $100 in it. Get your money back." She shrieked at me about it, and I told her that she had to beg, cry, and get on her knees at the agency if that's what it took. Miraculously, she pulled it off and paid her parents back in full. But now she's incredibly angry and keeps telling me that it's my turn to go beg for my money back. Her parents are completely on her side and keep saying that going into a lifetime commitment, I don't need a luxury watch. Not sure about this one. I think I might have jumped the gun on that purchase, but I had already had my mind made up for years. Edit, I didn't think this was a financial advice board. I will include the following information because people here are incessantly focusing on how I spent my money. 1. I have maxed out my 401k every year since I was 23. In terms of retirement, my 20s were spent saving way more than the average American. 2. I spent the majority of my 20s also financially supporting my mentally ill sister. I no longer have to support her, and therefore I began dating Jen with marriage in mind. My question was about whether stranding Jen after an impulsive decision like that was an asshole move. It wasn't about whether I should keep more money in my savings account. If anyone here who has also maxed out their 401k throughout their 20s while supporting a family member would like to chime in, go ahead, but I don't really care. I think I'm actually going to say everyone sucks here, but obviously the woman was a lot worse. He says, "No, we're not blowing this on a vacation," and then she goes and takes out a loan and expects him to pay it back. He was right to not give her the money, but rushing out and buying an $8,000 watch? I know it's his money, but at the same time he says he's trying to get married and start a life. Don't those things cost a lot of money? I wouldn't begrudge someone a nice watch if they can afford it, but he's really emptying out his savings right before getting married? Well, let me know what you think. I'm sure everyone will agree that he's at least the lesser asshole, but not exactly brilliant here. This might end up being all Am I the Asshole stories again. Am I the asshole for bringing the child to their parents' car? I operate a licensed home daycare. My hours are firmly 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Now, of course, I totally understand that life happens, and I'm always flexible for things like traffic. Sometimes your own job won't let you leave, etc. As long as the parents are making an effort to pick up on time, I am not going to penalize them. I do have one client that likes to push my limits when it comes to this. They often park outside my house at 7:15 a.m. and text me saying, "I'm here." I always reply, "Okay, we open at 7:30, see you then." Because while I'm dressed and ready, I am often still having my coffee, setting up for the day, etc. You wouldn't be able to pull up at Trader Joe's and insist on being let in 15 minutes early. On Friday, I noticed they had pulled up at 5, but didn't get out of their car. I figured they must be on a call and went about my business, tending to the kids. The rest were picked up by 5:15. Client was still in her car. Not a problem, I'm open until 5:30, you can choose to do what you want. At 5:25 I did text a reminder that, hey, I close at 5:30, do you want me to bring out their child? No response. 5:30 comes. They don't get out. 5:35. I text again saying, I understand you may be on a work call, but my day ends at 5:30. Please come get child. Ignored. 5:45, I packed up the child's things, took them by the hand and led them outside. I could see the client was talking on her phone. I knocked on the window. She gave me an annoyed look and rolled it down. What? I asked if she got my texts and she said yes, but she was busy. And considering I make her wait 15 minutes, I can stand to wait 15 minutes. I told her that's not how it works, I'm done by 5:30. I asked if she needed help getting the child into their car seat. She let out an aggravated sigh, told the person she'd call them back, and then went about putting her child into the car. I went back in, figuring we were done. I got a text an hour later that I interrupted an important work call, and why couldn't I have just watched him another 15 minutes? I pointed out I may have been willing if she responded to my texts. She told me that I work from home, so I can handle working 15 minutes late. Okay, even though I work from home and have no schedule to speak of, I'd be pretty pissed if someone decided that that meant their time was more valuable than mine, and I should be inconvenienced. If you're wondering, yes, she did get charged a fee for picking up her child late. Childcare is expensive, she must know this if she pays for it. I don't know how you could expect someone to do another 15 minutes for free at that point. And you give people like this an inch and they'll take a mile every day if they can get away with it. Plus I doubt the kid likes being a problem through no fault of their own. The OP handled it very professionally compared to anything I'd do. This next one is a little hard to believe, but I do want to talk about it a bit. Am I the asshole for telling my fiancée that her dad's passing is no longer relevant? I know how the title sounds, just hear me out. Created an account just to get someone else's opinion. On mobile, so forgive my formatting errors. My fiancée, 22 female, and I, 25 male, were at a family gathering for some unfortunate circumstances. My dad passed away 8 years ago due to a terminal illness just after I graduated high school, and this time of year for me is always the hardest. On the anniversary of his passing, I take time off of work and go MIA for a week or so just to allow myself to grieve and spend time with my family to mourn his death because it's still so hard on all of us who knew him. When my fiancée and I started dating, she would drop by sympathy flowers and a card for my mom and I, and be on her way because she knows on the day of his passing I don't want to be disturbed, even if it's an emergency. My mother or I don't want her around, mainly just me. But that aside, she knows the drill, after knowing me for the time she's known me. This year, however, was different. We had a family gathering with both sides of my family, including grandparents, and my mother insisted on inviting my fiancée, even though I suggested otherwise because it's for family only. But she came anyway, bringing her usual flowers, and this time a few dishes for the gathering. Here's where I may be the asshole. My fiancée was sat next to my grandma during dinner, and I overheard parts of their conversation, and she was being asked about her family, mainly her parents, and she ended up telling my grandma that it's just been her and her mom since she was around 7 or 8 after her dad suddenly passed away from a heart attack. I got upset while listening to this conversation because I didn't think this was the time or place to be talking about anything like that, especially because it wasn't even about her or her parents. I ended up snipping at her, telling her no one cared enough to listen about her dad dying, and it's been so long it's not relevant, since she didn't even know him with how young she was when it happened. I even said how my dad's passing takes priority over hers because it's much more recent than hers. After saying what I said, she's been giving me the silent treatment and stayed quiet the rest of dinner, even when she was being spoken to. I even told her I just didn't think it was appropriate for the time and place, and she still won't talk to me. Am I the asshole? Yes, you're the fucking asshole. It's amazing how this guy doesn't even consider his fiancée part of his family, to the extent that his mother insists on inviting her because he won't. I don't mean to shame him for the fact that he takes a week off to be sad even 8 years later, but I would think that someone who is that affected by their father dying might understand that he's not the only one that happens to. I'm not very sentimental, so I barely remember my dad 15 years later. Does this guy just not like his fiancée much? Because I'm seeing some problems here. I also like how he acted like the story would justify the title. But it was even worse than the title made it seem. Alright, I think I should cover one more story before I call it a day. Am I the asshole for firing an employee for stealing leftovers? My, 27 female, husband's of 3 years father is an entrepreneur who, among his businesses in numerous industries, has several sandwich shops spread out throughout 2 states. Last year, my husband and his dad opened a new location, and he and I were put in charge of being the ultimate decision makers regarding day-to-day operations at that location. My husband is the one with an MBA, but he has his hands full managing properties that his dad owns, so I've been the one who pays the most attention to details. While I trust the manager we hired, I sometimes go through the security camera footage of the store for extra assurance purposes. My husband never has the time to do so, but I can easily do so. Our shop is not open on Sundays, so inventory that we have to be thrown out because it cannot be served on Monday. The other day I realized that on one Saturday night, an employee who regularly closed was throwing out meats but would shove bread into a bag and presumably take it home. Another employee saw this happen but never reported it. I ended up confronting the other employee first, who has been here longer. She admitted it was true, but that she thought because it was peanuts compared to the breads and meats being thrown out that this was somebody just trying to feed themselves. I confronted the employee who did it, and she said she was sorry, but she was a single mom and that she thought it was going in the trash anyway. She also said that she wasn't making enough to not qualify for food stamps, but that it was still not enough with a growing child, and she often had to skip meals. I left that meeting angry that the employee didn't seem to understand she was essentially stealing. I called the manager and said he should have made it clear that stealing was unacceptable and to fire her. He seemed dismayed and said that we should give her a warning and give her a chance to not do it again. But I was honestly done with it because we pay well for what she does, and she cannot say her issues entitled her to get away with this. Am I the asshole? Yeah, this really sucks. I hate how much food has to get thrown out. But it's not like this has to be the policy. You can let employees take food home. Hell, Starbucks started giving away their old food to food banks, and it seems a lot better than just tossing it. I'd be pretty fucking incredulous if I got fired over this. But these do definitely seem like the actions of someone who pores over security footage for no reason, just hoping their employees fuck up and can be fired. But that is about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say about the stories or about the content in general, even about me, let me hear it in the comments. I'll be reading those when it's new. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more of the same and whatever else I come up with. We'll be covering Elliot Rodger and Russell Greer very soon here, I think. I know I keep saying that, but I'll probably forget it if I don't. And a really big thanks to my generous patrons who help me by supporting me more directly over on Patreon. Let's shout them out because I said I would in the last video. Jimmo, Ennui Blue, Levon, Maxo11X, MDB3000, Chris Sturman, Bumbus McDunga, Clipper, Amanda Gillies, Bethy Williams, Big Mike Shirley, Cacti Lady Wither, Cho, Daniel Della Pena, Don Smith, Deborah Douglas, Leanne Summers, Ouroboros, Rob Sopp, Sammy, Sandyman, Spoonie the Rogue, V stands for, Wernology, William Ash, Psychic Kumquat, Alex Anakin, Alan Fang, Knit1 Code 2, Lil Spoon, Ms. Mayhem, Francois Tremblay, Nick Lucarelli, and Petulant Panda. Thanks again, you helped me not have to steal leftovers from my day job. Nah, I'm just kidding, I don't have a day job. Anyway, have a great day everyone, and if you have a fiancé, try to treat them better than these people do.